Hi, everyone. My name is ElsaMarie DSilva. I'm from Mumbai, India, and it's good to be back. I presented in 2017 at Zurich. So I'm the founder of Red Dot Foundation and Red Dot Foundation Global. They are nonprofits in India and the US, whose mission is really ending violence against women and girls using crowdsourced data and community engagement for institutional accountability. So how did I start? 11 years ago, a young woman was gang raped on a bus in Delhi. She was gang raped multiple times and left to die on the streets. And that incident made national and international news, and people were horrified and shocked. So was I. I was part of the corporate sector. I was in aviation, where I was planning and optimizing my airline's route networks. And I was also at a moment in my life where I was looking for my purpose. And I wanted to work on women's rights, but didn't know exactly which aspect to focus on till this incident. And what happened with this incident was that I was triggered to remember my own experiences of being groped on a train as a 13-year-old, witnessing masturbation on public buses, catcalled on the streets, and also sexual harassment at the workplace. And my friends started opening up and sharing about their incidents, and none of us actually had shared about this or made any reports to any official authority. So what I realized is actually sexual and gender-based violence is a global pandemic, which impacts 1 in 3 women around the world at least once in their lifetime. And I had, most of my network sharing about their experiences. And yet 80% or more choose not to share about it to any official authority because of the fear of bringing dishonor to themselves, their families, fear of engaging with the police, fear of dealing with the formal justice system. And so my response to this gang rape 10 days after it happened was to launch Safecity, a crowd map for anonymous reporting of sexual and gender-based violence. Why? Because there's a data gap that exists. There's a silence around this issue. Women are made to feel like they have to stay silent, they can't speak up. Nobody intervenes around them. Nobody shares anything. Nobody's reporting. So the system doesn't have the right statistics. And therefore, solutions are not really effective, whilst the climate is very comfortable for a perpetrator to continue perpetrating this violence. And violence doesn't occur in a vacuum. It occurs because society has made it okay to do so. And you see it play out in many different ways. I put some statistics over here from my country's reporting on Sustainable Development Goal number 5, which is on gender equality. If you take women in leadership positions, less than 9% of women are voted into state legislative assemblies. It's not better at the national parliament level, which is 14%. If you take women's contribution in the formal labor force, in India it's at 33%, but in reality, post-pandemic, it's at 19%. And if you think about how many girls are being born, even before they're born, they're being killed because there's femicide. 899 girls are born for every 1,000 male births. So you can see it's a cycle of violence that keeps perpetuating. So sexual violence is a spectrum or a continuum of abuse. You have on one end verbal and non-verbal forms of it, and on the other you have rape, sexual assault, murder, kidnapping, human trafficking, etc. These happen in public and private spaces, and now that we live in a technologically, world, it's also in digital spaces. But it's a continuum. It moves from one to the other. So we shouldn't look at it in silos. And what happens is that it is often considered normal. It's part of our daily routine. It's trivialized. But in fact, it can be extremely debilitating to many, limiting choices, affecting mobility and opportunities. So what we are doing with Safecity is making the invisible visible. And how do we do that? We have a platform that is available on web, Android, and iOS. It's a global platform available in 15 languages. We are in its 3rd iteration. We started with Ushahidi, but now we have our own software. It has an empathy layer in its UI UX. It's completely in line with GDPR, so we're not collecting any personal information. What we are collecting is what happened to you, where it happened, the date and the time of day. And this data is collated as location-based trends, visualized on a map as hotspots. So I put up a snapshot of New York City with bubbles and numbers. You can zoom in right up to the street level and check out what people are saying, but that data is yours to use as you see fit to design programs or to engage with communities. We believe that our approach, which is Safecity at the central part of our methodology, collecting the data, making it available to individuals and communities to work with institutions for better implementation of policies, is really a systems change approach. Because how can you solve for something if you don't know what's happening? And that really is the crux of the problem. So how do we do it? As individuals, do you know how safe you are in your own city or in a new city? Today we are in Nairobi. Can I walk on the streets? Where can I walk? At what time can I walk safely? What are people who live in Nairobi facing? Is it going to be applicable to me? So having this data is really building your situational awareness, not for you to avoid the spaces, but to be better prepared. Also, as individuals, can we be more conscious about what's happening so we can take a preventative approach? And we don't have to do it alone. We are all part of communities. So what is the role of community in having our back, in really helping us solve the problem? In the power of the collective, there is great power because your voice can be heard. You can have agency. And we've seen that play out in different ways as institutions actually pay attention. Police have changed beat patrol timings, civic authorities have fixed broken infrastructure, transportation authorities are making spaces safe. I'll give you a few examples. So Shalini, for example, is in a little rural village outside of my city, Mumbai. She would go to school in a minibus, which was always overcrowded. So you can imagine her experience going to school. She would be groped, touched, etc. And she would reach school with this really disturbed frame of mind. But she didn't feel she had the right to speak up or tell her parents, because often parents, under the guise of safety, stop their children from going to school. It's not important. It's more important to get her married with honor, right? But with her friends, she was able to use the Safecity data and share their common experience, negotiate for their own minivan, which they now have to go to school. Manoj, on the other hand, and this is really important because men and boys have to be part of the solution. Manoj was one of a group of young men who had put a couch outside a public toilet complex in Delhi. This was a toilet complex that women often used because they didn't have toilets inside their homes. And this had no doors, no windows, poor lighting. And these guys would take pictures, make fun of them, sing Bollywood tunes, etc., making it even worse, right? So when asked what would they like to do, they said we wanted to stop. So they invited these young men to a workshop, shared their stories, and Manoj was deeply upset. He thought he was just having fun. He didn't know that his behavior was causing so much of pain. And so now he joined up as a peer educator, is challenging the status quo, and is advocating for safe spaces. We have partners in several countries. In Kenya, in Kibera, Nairobi, we have a partner with Polycom Development for Girls. And they were already mapping violence through boxes and little notes written by hand. We digitized this data for them, helped them look at it as clusters in the local community. And Jane, my partner, was able to stop some of this violence by engaging religious leaders, by using community radio to talk about it. In Manila, we are working with a mayor who has endorsed an app, and the community is now responding to that app. Her team is responding in real time, inviting them to come to workshops and learn about the resources that her government has. It has increased in direct increase in access to community-based resources. So we have worked in many countries, impacted over 1 million people. We have the largest data set of crowdsourced stories. Do check it out for your own city. And it's available, like I said, in 15 languages. We are partners in 17 countries. And we would like to partner with you. So thank you.